My husband always promised to give me a special gift on my 29th birthday, but 2 weeks before that day arrived, he died in an accident. I thought my life was over until my birthday. An old woman at the cemetery gave me a letter from my husband. Its contents made my blood boil. Before the story begins, please write in the comments section where you're watching this story from. Don't forget to like and subscribe so the Midnight Stories channel can grow and present more interesting stories. The morning atmosphere in Lila's dining room felt as warm as usual. Sunlight streamed through the half-opened window curtains, illuminating the face of Ryan, who was enjoying his breakfast. Ryan was the perfect husband for Lila. He was not only a responsible head of the family and CEO, but also attentive to the small things. Lila poured warm tea into her husband's cup with a smile. She glanced at the desk calendar on the table. A large red circle marked the 25th of this month, her 29th birthday. Ryan, noticing her gaze, put down his spoon and smiled meaningfully. He gently held Lila's hand. He said he hadn't forgotten the date. He reminded Lila that this year he had prepared something very special, a gift that would change their lives forever. Lila laughed softly at her husband's enthusiasm. She never asked for extravagant gifts. Having Ryan by her side was more than enough. But seeing the sparkle in her husband's eyes, she didn't want to ruin his happiness. Ryan promised on her birthday he would take her somewhere and give her that surprise. The promise was spoken with such sincerity, as if it were the most important mission of his life. However, behind that sweet smile and promise, Lila began to sense something different about her husband in recent days. Ryan seemed more restless than usual. She often caught him daydreaming while watching TV or waking up abruptly at night, breathless. Whenever Lila asked if there were problems at work, Ryan would shake his head with a forced smile, saying it was just routine business complications. He tried hard to hide his burdens so Lila wouldn't worry. One night, as Lila was about to bring fruit to Ryan's study, she overheard him on the phone, speaking in a low, tense voice. She paused at the slightly ajar door. She heard Ryan angrily mention the name Freddie. He firmly told the person on the other end not to be reckless and that he would settle everything before the 25th. Lila froze. Freddie was Ryan's cousin who also worked in the family business. Their relationship had always seemed fine on the surface, though Lila knew Freddie was somewhat ambitious. When Lila knocked, Ryan hastily ended the call and composed himself as if the heated argument had never happened. Time passed quickly until that fateful day. Exactly 2 weeks before Lila's birthday, the sky was overcast, as if sensing the foreboding unease in Lila's heart. Ryan was preparing for an out-of-town trip to inspect a new resort construction site. Before leaving, he hugged Lila longer than usual, kissed her forehead, and whispered for her prayers for a smooth trip. Ryan said that after this matter was settled, he could focus entirely on her birthday. Lila straightened his collar and asked him to be careful on the road. A heavy, inexplicable feeling lingered as she watched his car disappear from their driveway. That afternoon, the unease grew. Lila tried calling Ryan's phone, but it was off. She tried to think positively, maybe he was in an area with poor reception or in an important meeting, but as evening approached, there was still no word. Ryan always made time to send a short message no matter how busy. Lila paced the living room, phone in hand. The heavy rain outside added to her distress. At night, the doorbell rang. Lila's heart raced. She ran to the door, hoping it was Ryan returning because he forgot his keys. But standing there were two uniformed police officers with serious, somber faces. A patrol car with dimly flashing lights was visible behind them in the rain. Lila's legs felt weak instantly. The officers asked if this was Mr. Ryan's residence. With a trembling voice, Lila confirmed. The news struck like a thunderbolt. The officer reported that the vehicle Ryan was driving had been involved in a single-car accident on a hill road leading to the project site. Preliminary investigation suggested brake failure on a steep, rain-slicked descent. The car lost control, crashed through a barrier, and fell into a deep ravine. Rescue teams had tried to evacuate him, but Ryan did not survive. He died on impact due to severe trauma. Lila's world collapsed instantly. The sound of rain, the police, and thunder merged into a painful buzz in her ears. She sank to the floor, unable to hold herself up. The promise of a special gift, Ryan's smile that morning, his warm embrace, all swirled in her head like a broken record. The next few days felt like an endless nightmare. The house, usually warm, was filled with mourners and recitations of prayers. Lila sat beside her husband's body with a vacant stare, having run out of tears. She greeted guests with weak nods, not really seeing who came. She felt half her soul had gone with Ryan. The funeral was solemn, yet heartbreaking. Lila scattered flowers on the fresh, damp red soil, whispering a quiet farewell to the man she loved most. After the 3 most difficult days of mourning, the house grew quiet again. Distant relatives had left. Lila began sorting through Ryan's belongings returned by the police from the accident site. There was a damp wallet, a watch with a shattered crystal, and a smartphone with a badly cracked screen. Sitting on the edge of the bed, Lila held the phone, trying to turn it on, hoping it still worked. After pressing the power button several times, the screen lit up dimly. She unlocked it with trembling hands, checking the photo gallery, seeing pictures of their time together, her heart aching anew. Then her finger accidentally pressed the voice recorder app. There was one recent recording file, made the day of the accident, a few hours before it happened. Lila pressed play. There was rustling, then Ryan's voice, sounding breathless and anxious. He mentioned Freddie's name, saying an audit needed to be done immediately. He also pleaded not to let Lila know about this danger because he didn't want her hurt. The recording cut off abruptly, as if Ryan stopped it because someone approached or he had to act quickly. Lila replayed the recording several times. Her heart pounded. This was no ordinary message. Ryan sounded terrified and pressured. Freddie's name was clearly mentioned in a suspicious context. Lila recalled the phone conversation that night. She began to realize this accident might not be mere bad luck. Something was being hidden from her, something involving Freddie and company finances. Amidst her deep grief, a seed of suspicion sprouted. She stared at the cracked smartphone screen, her gaze slowly shifting from sorrow to intense questioning. Ryan would never drive recklessly. He was a very careful driver, and the car had just been serviced last month. The word brake failure now felt odd. Lila clenched the phone tightly, feeling Ryan left this clue for her. A week after Ryan's passing, the large house felt even colder and more alien, not just because of Ryan's absence, but also because of the arrival of his extended family, who began to show their true colors. That afternoon, a sleek black luxury car stopped in front of the house. Out stepped Mrs. Vanessa and Freddie. Mrs. Vanessa was Ryan's stepmother, and Freddie was her biological son, also Ryan's cousin. Lila received them politely in the living room, though her body was still weary and her spirit shaken. She served warm drinks, hoping their visit might offer some comfort in her solitude, but her hope quickly vanished. Mrs. Vanessa sat arrogantly on the leather sofa, her eyes scanning the room appraisingly, as if estimating the value of everything. No words of genuine condolences came from the middle-aged woman. Her first question was about the house deed and the keys to Ryan's safe, claiming that as his mother, she had the right to know what assets her stepson left behind. Freddie, sitting beside her, remained silent, busy with his phone, occasionally glancing at Lila with an inscrutable look. Lila tried to stay calm, answering that all important documents were safely stored and she hadn't had time to check them due to mourning. This answer dissatisfied Mrs. Vanessa. Her tone rose as she insinuated Lila was merely a childless wife with no absolute inheritance rights. Mrs. Vanessa cruelly remarked that the house was too big for Lila to live in alone, suggesting, or rather demanding, that Lila prepare to move to a small apartment after the mourning period, as this main house would be used by Freddie, who would take over company leadership. Lila's heart felt pierced. Her husband had just died, the grave soil not yet dry, but his family was already scrambling for assets as if Ryan meant nothing to them. Freddie finally spoke, supporting his mother. With a feigned, polite, yet intimidating tone, he said the company was unstable after Ryan's passing, so personal assets needed to be secured. That night, in her quiet room, Lila viewed the memory card contents on her laptop. Her eyes recorded every second of the horrific scene. A man in a black jacket tampering beneath Ryan's car, while Freddie stood nearby giving instructions and handing over a thick envelope. Lila slammed her laptop shut. No more doubt, no more fear, only steely determination to crush Freddie before everyone he revered. Lila spent the rest of the night finalizing plans with Mr. Solomon via encrypted text and contacted an old friend, a professional audio-visual technician, to help prepare the surprise at the upcoming dinner. She knew she had only one chance. The moment had to be perfect. Reporting Freddie to police discreetly wasn't enough. He had dirty connections that could free him. Lila had to disgrace him publicly, destroy his reputation to its roots, so no one would defend or protect him again. Staring into the mirror, adjusting her shawl, Lila smiled coldly at her reflection. The gentle wife had died with her husband. What remained was an avenger who wouldn't stop until justice was served. The awaited day arrived. The ballroom of a 5-star hotel in the city center was transformed into a luxurious banquet hall. Crystal chandeliers hung magnificently, casting golden light everywhere. Round tables were set with silk cloths and fresh flower arrangements. Uniformed waiters ensured every detail was perfect. This was Freddie's coronation night, his official announcement as new CEO, replacing the late Ryan. Invitations had been sent to business associates, government officials, and major shareholders. Freddie wanted the world to know he was the new ruler of the family business empire. At the large house, preparation tensions were high but masked by pretense. Mrs. Vanessa dressed extravagantly in a modern beaded kabaya, flaunting her high social status, commanding servants loudly to ensure Freddie looked perfect in his expensive suit. When Lila emerged from her room, Mrs. Vanessa looked at her up and down with contempt, remarking that Lila shouldn't attend if she'd only be a sad reminder. She warned Lila to sit quietly at the back table and not seek attention. Freddie, preening before the large hall mirror, added arrogantly that Lila's presence was merely a formality to show family solidarity post-tragedy, subtly threatening her fate if she caused trouble. Lila only bowed slightly, hiding a mysterious smile, agreeing to comply. Her answer satisfied them, inflating their egos further. The ride to the hotel was silent. Lila sat in the front passenger seat beside the new driver, while Freddie and Mrs. Vanessa sat behind, busy discussing business expansion plans and overseas vacations after company funds were liquidated, speaking as if Lila weren't there or too foolish to understand. Lila gazed out the window at passing city lights, gripping her handbag tightly. Inside was the flash drive and a wireless connector that would be her ultimate weapon. Her heart raced not from fear, but adrenaline. Imagining Ryan's face, his smile, gave her immense strength. Arriving at the hotel, they were greeted by camera flashes. Freddie and Mrs. Vanessa flashed wide, fake smiles, waving like celebrities. Lila walked slightly behind, face lowered, playing her role as the grieving widow. Inside the ballroom, hundreds of guests mingled. Freddie immediately socialized, shaking hands with senior officials and businessmen, laughing loudly, displaying his manipulative charm. Lila was directed to a table in a dim corner far from the main stage, sitting alone, observing Freddie's every move like a hawk targeting prey. The event began with a lavish dinner accompanied by soft orchestra music. After dessert was served, lights dimmed, spotlights focusing on the main stage. The MC loudly called Freddie to give his inauguration speech. Applause thundered, although some senior guests looked hesitant and unenthusiastic, as if aware of Freddie's true qualities. Freddie ascended the stage with confident strides, face radiant with victory. Taking the microphone, he began speaking. His speech disgusted Lila. He spoke of future vision, innovation, and risk-taking, mentioning Ryan's name briefly at the start and in a belittling tone, as if Ryan's leadership was slow and outdated. He praised himself and his mother more, calling the accident destiny, paving the way for a new, glorious company era. Guests clapped politely, though an awkward tension hung in the air. Lila felt her blood boil. She couldn't let this man enjoy his victory a second longer. As Freddie was about to end his speech and propose a toast, Lila stood from her chair. She didn't sneak. She walked straight through the crowd towards the stage, her steps firm, dress rustling softly on the thick carpet. Some guests noticed, whispering. The atmosphere grew hushed. Seeing Lila approach, Freddie frowned, signaling security to restrain her. But Lila raised her hand, requesting to speak, her calm voice carrying in the quieting room. "Wait a moment," she said, her voice echoing without a microphone yet reaching every ear. "Our new director has forgotten one important thing." Freddie tried an awkward laugh, attempting to lighten the mood, saying Lila was emotional and needed rest. But Lila stood firm, reaching the stage edge. She looked at Freddie, then at the audience. "My husband Ryan always promised a special gift on my birthday this week. Sadly, he left before giving it. But it turns out he left a gift for all of us here tonight, the gift of honesty." Before Freddie or security could drag her down, Lila quickly pulled a small device from her bag. Her technician friend in the control room behind the ballroom, contacted earlier, cut Freddie's presentation laptop connection and linked it to Lila's device signal. The giant screen behind Freddie, previously showing the company logo, went black, startling everyone. Lila smiled thinly at a now confused and panicked Freddie. "Enjoy the show, Freddie," she whispered coldly. The next second, the screen lit up again, not with stock graphs, but with blurry yet clear CCTV footage of an auto shop at night, and a face very familiar to everyone in the room. The ballroom fell deathly silent, as if air was forcibly sucked out. Hundreds of eyes fixed on the giant screen hijacked by Lila. The video, though slightly blurry and shaky, clearly showed an auto shop interior at night. A digital timestamp showed the day before the fatal accident. A mechanic in uniform crouched under a sedan, unmistakably Ryan's personal car. Soon another figure entered the frame, a man in a black leather jacket and low-pulled hat. But as he turned to give instructions, his face was clearly illuminated by neon shop lights. It was Freddie. Audio played through the powerful ballroom speakers, Freddie's cold, emotionless voice ordering the mechanic to loosen brake cables and damage the brake fluid seal for a slow leak, wanting the accident to look natural on an uphill road. The mechanic appeared hesitant and scared, but Freddie threw a thick brown envelope on the workbench, threatening the mechanic's family if the job wasn't done. The scene ended with Freddie grinning sinisterly, patting Ryan's car hood as if bidding farewell to the cousin he was sending to his death. Guest reactions were beyond expectations. Initial shock gave way to murmurs, turning into gasps and horrified cries. Shareholders in the front rows stood, faces pale. Some women covered their mouths in disbelief. Mrs. Vanessa at the VIP table froze, her drink glass slipping and shattering on the floor, the sound drowned by the uproar. Her pride, praised to the skies moments ago, was now exposed as a cold-blooded murderer before all business associates. Freddie on stage looked thunderstruck, his body rigid, eyes staring blankly at the screen behind him, slowly turning to sheer panic. Cold sweat poured from his forehead, smearing his light makeup. He grabbed the microphone with trembling hands, yelling that the video was fake, accusing Lila of using advanced tech to slander him, claiming it was a deep fake by business rivals. But his defense sounded hollow and desperate. No one believed him. His panicked, fearful body language only confirmed the video's truth. His high-pitched voice sounded pitiful amid accusing stares. Lila still stood firm near the stage steps. She didn't smile triumphantly, but gazed at Freddie with a look of grief and restrained anger. Raising her voice again, speaking loudly without a microphone, but clearly heard due to the stage's acoustics, this wasn't the only evidence. She revealed the mechanic in the video is alive, now under police protection, ready to testify. She also mentioned illicit funds Freddie used to pay for the murder, money stolen from the company Ryan's father built arduously. Lila's statements were the final nail in Freddie's reputational coffin. Board directors exchanged glances, shaking their heads, signaling Freddie's career ended tonight. Chaos peaked when the ballroom's main doors suddenly burst open. A squad of armed police stormed in tactically, accompanied by narcotics.